Do you wear bucket hats to hide your hairline?
Absolutely not. I'll take this hair clear off the show. I have a full of hair. Nice fucking try, Jeffrey. Nice try, socks with sandals.
How long you been doing comedy and like arts and shit out here in Phoenix?
4 years now. Well, almost about 4 years next month.
Okay.
Before.
Do you think before were you just insulting people like constantly, and then you're like, I need to do comedy, or how'd that work?
No, I think I'm just a smart ass in general. So that's where half this shit comes from.
What made you want to make the push? Because I feel like everyone's just like, I want to do it, but then just never do.
You don't want to be old with regret. You know what I mean? Like, I think I started maybe when I was like 27. So in gay years, we have this shit called gay 30, where you're basically 30 at 25. And then from there on out, there's just a curve. You know what I mean? So if you're like 30 years old, you're like 40 in gay years. And it just goes up exponentially.
I didn't even know, like, I know
Unless you have money. If you have a lot of money, then you could look 21 and you'd be 87.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that just like, that's just sugar daddy then?
I mean, who got the money?
I know there was dog years and cats years. I didn't know there was gay years.
There's gay years.
Okay.
Yeah. There's like dogs, cats, gay.
Is this something that they teach you? Like you go to a gay bar and you learn about this?
You figure it out along the way. Nobody's just gonna sit you down and like teach you the rules, because then you fuck up the game. You know what I mean? So some of the shit you got to find out yourself, and then.
How do you? Because personally,
Like, I think we're getting off track though.
No, I mean, like, do you want to talk about? I mean, it's just whatever. Stand up, right? Stand up, right? No. So what's been like the progression? Because you've been doing it 4 years.
4 years.
So what's like do you see that there is a plateau as far as like you need to work like 10 times harder to reach this next point, or how have you viewed it as like your progression?
I think it started off with different phases. When you first get into it, you're like eager to always perform. You're doing all this shit that you think, you maybe have like funny stories that you want to tell because you think it's funny, and then you try it out and then it fucking falls flat on its face a lot of times. The reason why I wanted to start is because, like I said, I was approaching, getting older, and it was something I think I've always wanted to do, just to like try it out. But I just, one of those things, you ain't never like gotten around to it. So I was like, fuck it. One day, let me just try it out. There used to be this place, Comedy off Main Street. I would go, and the first time I did, I ate hot shit. But I knew being up there, I was like, this is probably for me.
What do you think is the difference? Because I kind of know what you're talking about. I've noticed after being just like a bit over a year in, not that gives me great perspective, but like the people that are like under like, oh no, the beginner, like few months in, they'll do like every single mic, and then it kind of slowly dissipates, and then it's just like, all right, they're just doing like a few a week now. Did you have like that rush too?
Yeah, I feel like doing open mics is always a good thing. I'm trying to think who told me. I want to say it was like Gabe Bell, and he was like, you don't necessarily go to open mics to see what material works, because you already know it's funny. You kind of do it to polish your craft, basically. Do it to kind of like polish yourself, which is kind of true.
I found it makes it more enjoyable to have like to make friends personally, because I think like, I don't know, when I first started, I was just kind of doing my set, then dipping out. And then like, I don't know, slowly I was just like, let me make a friend. And now it's more enjoyable when someone says, hey, Jeff. So I'm like, nice. People know I exist.
Well, what's funny? I do think some of us, and I'm not saying it's necessarily a good or bad thing, but I know some of us do it for like therapy. I'm not going to say I'm one of those, but like I do know people who it's like, I feel I have anxiety, so doing stand-up helps me get rid of my anxiety.
I've heard that. People say it on stage, mostly when it's just like awkward silence. I've noticed. I don't know, but
I feel like there's a very millennial thing.
To say like this is therapy?
Kind of like speaking with people is, well, it's a little harder, but you know what I mean? I think like for them, it's not necessarily trying to be funny. It's just speaking to strangers.
Just wanting to be heard.
Sort of, okay. And it does come across that way when you see it. Because it's like, what was your intent to make us laugh at this shit?
I wonder if there's a correlation between like
You going to the doctor's office? Like, and it's not even like a prostate exam or something they're getting. Like, okay, I got my finger checked. But like, it's just a long ass story and then one punchline. And
I've heard that more with older people that just start stand up more than like younger people, like because they'll have these stories they tell to like their friends and stuff, and they like it goes over well with them, but then like they realize there's no punches in it at all. I don't know.
Because it's a funny thing in the moment because everybody's in the moment. So when something happens, of course, it's funny to your group of friends. Mm-hmm. The problem is when you explain it to strangers, they're not in the moment. They're strangers. They really don't owe you anything. You know what I mean? So I think that's like the hard part about it being a comedian. It's like a one-man band. You just up there. You know, the dude who has the fucking, the little drum that he hits with his hands and he's playing like the guitar and he's got a harmonica. Like that's you, the comic. You know what I mean? Trying to make rhythm out of doing this goofy shit.
Have you seen like a weird transition taking, because have you ever tried improv before or anything like that?
I'm not gonna lie, improv is not my strength. I've done a few shows.
Because you done that, were you on that Off the Top show?
Yeah, that was fun. I'm not gonna lie. That actually made me want to do improv more because I felt like it was a weakness of mine.
Mm-hmm. Like, as far as like doing like crowd work and shit, like and making shit off the cuff?
You know what? I think I went into it because there is like a different mindset when you're doing improv, because I think improv is probably like one of the hardest forms of just art in general. And I think after that, it's like stand up.
Because I heard the reverse sometimes, just because I think it's easier to do. I don't know, personally, if I did improv first, I feel like it would have made stand up easier. But they say like stand ups, you're just all by yourself the whole time. So improv, you have someone to rely upon. Sort of.
I feel like this, right? When improv goes bad, is bad. And don't get me wrong, there's that with stand up too, but at least people would be like, okay, he had balls to like go up there and do whatever, you know?
I hear that 100% of the time.
Yeah, with improv, it's just like, what the fuck? And like, you know the crowd feels that shit. And that's why I say it's harder. Because when it pops, it's like great. You know what I mean? Because it's like some spur of the moment shit somebody pulled out the ass and it just happens to go great. But when it's bad, woo! It's bad.
How is it for you doing improv? Because I think I've noticed, because I've invited a few people to go to like the Bridge, the open like the Saturday night jam, and a lot of them they'll be like they'll force something, and I think improv is more like just letting the scene play out. They'll just be like, oh, daffodil vagina, to try to make the crowd pop or something like that. Do you feel weird, or did you feel weird if there was like a silence because the scene was building for like 30 seconds?
No, that I have to feel like stand-up helps because silence isn't necessarily always a bad thing. Now, it's bad if you're like completely silent for like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? For like 30 seconds, I feel like as long as you know if something works or not, you just kind of roll with it until, you know, you can get where you need to play in the land. You know what I mean?
Have you thought of like trying other art forms? Say like, because I know you've done skits and stuff. I'm not sure if you've ever wanted to like direct or like do more acting or anything of that degree.
Directing, I've tried my hand in it. No.
What was that
truthfully
experience?
I think right now, honestly, I'm just working on being a better comic right now. So I think that's where I'm at. I've learned to add different elements of things I've done along the way. As far as like having to think about things, if that makes sense.
What was the experience with the directing? Is it, because I think it's a whole ordeal just trying to just even work with people and you get them there at the same time. And, you know, I don't know, sometimes you can't, I don't know. I've noticed like doing things like even photography, just like, all right, change your pose a little bit, smile a little bit more, and trying to make those minor adjustments, the person then will get irritated. I was like, what did you direct or what was that process?
That was a sketch I filmed, and it's probably a good thing it never came out. So, it was a sketch I wrote with me, Glenda McGee, and Noah Flores, and it was about To Catch a Predator, but the kind of twist was like the predator was R. Kelly in the situation. So we had like a dad, and the dad is upset because his daughter is dating R. Kelly, and she's a white woman, and his family doesn't believe in that, so he's playing like the ultra neo-conservative.
They doesn't believe in predators or dating black people.
Dating black people. Okay. So that works. That's work. And that's what's funny about it. And then the mother is upset at the daughter as well because she feels like she should be with R. Kelly. So you got a lot of things working in here. So I tried to like direct it, and it was like hard, honestly, getting people to commit to things. When you're filming things, having some people it flowed well with, others you did have more like difficulty.
Were they mostly all comics, or were they?
They were all comics.
Because I noticed working with a few actors and making like a sketch, like they will just do what you say without a question. Like, yeah, okay, fine, no problem. I'm like, that's so surprising.
Some people are like that, to be honest with you, because some people are very. Because you've explained the idea to them, you know, the vision about how things should look. So in their heads, they've probably already been like working on that, you know. Mm-hmm. But for others, it was definitely no. What the fuck are you doing? Not like saying like that, but
okay,
you know.
I feel like you just described Glendon for some reason.
No, Glendon wasn't there actually on the day we shot. I forgot why.
Was there frustration?
No, actually, it was all good. Mm-hmm. It's just the timing of it didn't work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think even with like editing, learning that, just like learning to edit photography, it's like a frustrating process. I'm like, well, I'm starting from like scratch and it's a brand new skill and shit like that.
It definitely was because I didn't know anything. Well, I had taken like classes in college for like photography. So it was definitely like, we want to make sure the sound is right. We want to make sure the lighting is right. The shit's not oversaturated, overexposed, yada, yada, yada. So it was definitely like things like that you had to take into account. Mm-hmm. And it is like a comedy. So it was a lot of things. It was a lot of things. It was cool because it was a new experience and not something I think I want to do. I have more respect for directors, I think, after doing it. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
No, definitely. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if I watch something long enough, I have to try it just myself. Mm-hmm. And I feel like since I got into stand-up and then like writing, it's just feel like I want to write like I don't know, I watch so much sketch comedy. It's just like I want to write more sketch comedy or something to that degree. Mm-hmm. What is there any frustrations you deal with nowadays kind of like doing comedy or like other things you're trying to improve upon?
I think right now is doing a lot of act outs because I've noticed there's funny in saying certain things, but then there's like an act. So I have a joke about like a gay rapper, right? And so them being afraid of like to tell other rappers to suck my dick. Now that's the punchline, but then there's an act out where the two are yelling back and forth, and the other rapper tells the guy to suck my dick, and then I drop to my knees. Mm-hmm. And it is hilarious because it's like the visual of it, like you don't necessarily see, but the fact that you acted it out was funny because you're laying it all out there. So I've been trying to do more shit like that.
How old is that joke?
Like 2 years.
Okay, only because I recently heard Fat Joe say, if someone says suck my dick, I gotta stab him. I don't know. That's just like the funniest shit to me. It's just like in New York, you know, that's just disrespectful. Like, so it's like, what if I said that to you right now? It's like, I gotta stab you.
Yeah, all right, though. That is like some fuck you, motherfucker, suck my. Yeah, New York, yeah. New Yorkers do shit like that. I can tell you living at home with one of them. When motherfuckers say suck my dick, yeah, they coming for the jugular.
No, it's just interesting to know. It's like, I'm not gonna beat your ass. I'm gonna murder you. So, I don't know. I just thought that was a weird progression. I wasn't sure if it was correlated to that. If your Fat Joe was the root of your joke at all.
No.
What's like so with the act outs, is that something like you consciously like, how do you improve on that? Because I feel like a minor, like I'll make a movement on stage and I'll think it's huge and I go to the camera and it's like, oh, this is like a very minor movement. All I did was blink. So like, how is it for you? How do you like measure that?
That's a weird question.
I know, I'm getting down to the meticulous. I'm just like...
honestly, I think it's just... you have your joke. Typically, it comes out, I'll have like a punchline. And the punchline will just come from something I read or I was out having a conversation. And then, I don't know, for some reason... And sometimes it'll just be going on in my head. I won't even write down the joke. Mm-hmm. But it'll just be going on in my head. And I'll think about it more. And it's like... whenever I'm having trouble with material, I'll give it, like, personify it. So I have a joke about, like, African beats. So like, what does an African beat look like? What does it sound like? You know what I mean? So that's where like the act out comes from. Like, what would a gay rapper do presented with such and such? So that's where the act out comes from. So you basically think about some action that things would take, and then you go from there.
How has it been trying to like kind of find a balance between like doing stand-up and then like making sure you have like other facets of your life in place, like with your boo thing, and like I don't know if like family is a big thing to you?
I think that's what some of the good balance is, because I know I've seen a lot of comics that have like talked about this recently, where they're just taking breaks. I think it's always good to have. It was like a work-life balance. You know what I mean? Like,
because I mean,
comedy for me is my art.
Yeah.
But I'm not making money off of this. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I can someday. But I mean, it's not making any money for me right now. So I'm just having fun.
No, because I know sometimes, at least, my experience is like, you get off of work and you do like that, those 9 hours a day and then you like go drive like 40 minutes to go to the open mic. At least because, it's all kind of located in like downtown Phoenix and all that. And then it's like I don't know, I noticed it takes like big chunk of time. So I was just like, for you doing it so long, was there a time where you were just totally embedded? It's just like your boo was like, where are you at?
Yes. Yeah. I think, because it's definitely a thing where it's kind of like my passion, but my passion ain't his passion.
Does he do that? He does it also?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not his passion. Like, he likes maps. So he's like totally into geography and shit like that. But I'm not into geography.
That's like, I've never heard that before.
I don't know what Turkmenistan is.
I didn't even know that was a place.
There you go. You look like you could be from there.
Okay.
No, but I mean, like, that's his thing. So naturally, sometimes you're going to be into something so much, because that was like a complaint of ours initially, where it was like, yo, you out here doing all these fucking open mics, and we ain't been out on no dates, but you're more concerned with this shit. So it definitely is like a thing where.
Do you think
that's why some comedians don't have like lasting relationships? Honestly, that is hard for us, because we've committed all of our off time to do this one thing, and then when you get off of work, it's not like you're trying to take your girl out at 11 o'clock because this bitch got to be at work at 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I've heard that personally. Somebody told me, it's like, they'll think it's like you can find a new girl and they'll think it's cool for a few months, and then they're kind of like, well, why are you only seeing me at like 12 o'clock at night? Like some type of deal.
Kind of that.
But no, I think it's because I ran into that problem where, at least I think my girl at the time, she didn't have like a thing that she was doing. Like she wasn't really into geography. So I think, was it easier because like at least he has something he's really into, or he's just kind of like, I haven't seen you for like a while?
You mean as far as like him being upset?
Because I feel like that, I don't know, maybe it's easier if both partners have like a niche that they're super into.
No, I wouldn't say that. Actually, he's actually been very supportive. But I can tell you, there's been a few places I've been booked at where it was like, I can't even believe like I'm here right now. You know what I mean? In some like hole in the wall. The motherfucker is going with me. You know what I mean? So I can't necessarily say.
No, not that he was unsupportive from like.
No. But I mean like, no. I would say as of recently, like he's found something that he's like really been good at, and it's funny because he did that because of my comedy. So I don't know. It's one of the things where in the beginning it might be bad, but if y'all willing to work shit out like with one another, it will probably like springboard things.
Yeah, because I think I'm just coming from the perspective, like, I don't know what you were super into like before comedy, but like I was always been super into like just like basketball and just like athletics and just like painting and shit like that. So like I could get myself lost into like just like playing basketball for like hours.
Did you do all these paintings?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, I don't know, I'm used to like kind of that, like I can do this for hours without thinking about it. And for me, it's weird when someone doesn't have something that they could just do mindlessly. I
don't know, everybody has their vice though. I mean, you see people, I was at the dispensary, so those guys like talking about my day. I tell them about to hang out with some friends later, yada, yada, yada. What you gonna do? oh man, I'm just about to smoke this fucking dab and get fucking wasted and sit on my couch. And some people just want to do that shit. You know what I mean? Some people...
Like their thing is more like kind of just watching movies and shit and just chilling.
There's some people that do that. Some motherfuckers join militias and shit. You know what I mean?
That was like, some people like go watching Netflix and some people like joining an African army. Like,
you know, everybody has their thing. I don't know. I think I was like you. I like watching basketball. I just like going out. Doing other shit.
You play basketball?
I was very bad at it. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like you dress like Russell Westbrook, so I feel like maybe you could be like as good as him.
I mean, that man makes $40-something million a year, so yeah. I don't give a fuck if they say he bricking or not. Yeah, that motherfucker is taking a bricks truck to his house.
What is it as far as time goes? As far as like the more you do this, does it change your perspective as far as goal setting, or is it more like still like in? Because I mean, it's easier to have like audacious goals, like your first year and like by this time I want to be in XYZ. You being like almost 5 years in, is it more just like I'm gonna just keep on doing this and whatever happens, or do you still set like I'm gonna be headlining like in the next year or so?
You always want to set goals, honestly. So I think that's always like a good thing. Even if you don't necessarily always attain them, it's always good to have. So I wanted to be, but like by my second year, I think I was starting to kind of figure shit out. Not all the way, but you kind of like piecing it together. So I said by year 3, I wanted to headline. And I finally did last year. So yeah, it's always good. It's always good to set goals for yourself.
How was it making that transition? Because I'm not sure if you were doing like features or if you just put a show together so you could headline. But like, how was it going from like maybe 5 to 10 minutes to maybe 25 plus minutes?
For me, it wasn't that bad, honestly. So when I would go to open mics, and people would always tell me not to do this, but I would always write a new set like each time I had gone. So I had learned about what didn't work, what didn't. So I would say by like maybe like a year and a half, I think I had like a good solid mix of material. No, I don't feel like, personally for me, I don't feel like it was hard doing it because I think I'd been told no so many times that by the time I had gotten, like the offer to do so, I was ready. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because I think I heard people say it's more, I just notice it more because I've seen like some of my buddies, they're doing like longer sets, like 15 minutes. But I notice it's more, sometimes it just sounds like the same punchlines over and over again. So I feel like, and I've also heard like it just exposes you more on stage the longer you're up there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it's just.
I think Chris Rock had a thing where like, if you want to tell a comic, just leave them up there for 15 minutes. Like they might do well, but then it starts to show like after.
What starts to show, like their true selves, or?
No. Just like, if they're built for the shit or not. You know what I mean? Because I've seen people, and I'm not going to say like professional or not, but you see people up there, and by the time they hit like maybe, I want to say like the 9 or 10 minute mark, the audience is like, oh, yo, how long is this motherfucker going to be up here? And you do kind of feel that. You know what I mean?
So what's the next step outside of that? Or is it pretty much, I feel like it's just keep on headline. Because I was listening to, I think, Business of Comedy or something to that degree. And the main thing is just like, important part is getting booked. And then like the second most important thing is like getting rebooked over and over again.
Yeah.
How have you like approached that?
Honestly, just doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I treat every show the same. So you get like everybody gets the same level of energy, the same level of performance. You know what I mean? I might switch up my material a bit, but everybody gets the same. So I feel like doing that. And then just having better confidence in yourself.
Because I know you talked about before we started, so you were kind of like, maybe like you're not writing as much right now. Do you think your writing correlates just to how much you go up on stage?
No, because you could always write shit that you don't necessarily put out on stage because you feel like it might not be ready, but it's good to always try to create. Do you know what I mean?
Because you said you wrote a set for every like open mic, or you kind of...
Yeah, in the beginning.
So that kind of like, I feel like do you think that just puts you in like a motion of writing, or it's just like you just have a bunch of
I think it was okay. So you would do, your little 5 minutes, and you would try. I don't know, like 15 new jokes out of 15, maybe 7 was popping. So you would do that over and over and over, and then when I would get like a booked gig, it would be like, okay, so I'm gonna try all this shit that worked and try to put it together, and let's see, what will happen with it. You know what I mean?
And so when did you decide to stop doing that, or you're just like, let me just keep on polishing these ones right here?
You always slip in new shit. I had watched like a thing with Ralphie May, and he had done like he was like speaking to other comics. I feel like at the Comedy Store. I feel like it was. And so he had said like it was like a point system that people have. So like for your set, give yourself a point if you added a tag. 2 if you tried a new material. Some shit like that. I don't remember the exact mechanics how he explained it. But it always is good to, whenever you perform, to try to do like new shit, even if it might not even work. But like I said, it always feels good trying new shit because you don't know what's good and what's not. And that's half the point of doing this shit.
Do you think, as far as, I don't know, I'm just kind of making random pivots. Do you think, I was just thinking of shit to say, interviewing and shit. Do you feel like you put yourself out there too much, or do you kind of keep like, because some people do like material on their life, and then some people do like just the airplane food, am I right, guys?
It all depends on what you feel passionate about. You know what I mean? Of course, personal material is a little bit better, in my opinion, because it's something personal that happened to you, but you don't necessarily have to. Because I feel like I tell certain things about myself that other people might not admit to, but I feel like I'm much more of a topical comic. Like you can give me a topic, I can make a joke out of it, but it's whatever works for you.
Make a joke about global warming.
I'm not doing that shit. Because this ain't an open mic. Who am I performing in front of?
I don't know. Some faces on the wall. Nah, but what's like to kind of like just land the plane real quick. What's something that you're kind of, say you watch this in like 10 years. What would you expect? Where would you expect yourself to be in like 10 years from now?
Honestly, touring, doing this shit.
Sorry.
Yeah. Have some spots in TV commercials and hopefully do movies. I'm ready for Hollywood, bro. I'm ready for all this Hollywood shit.
Do you think there's anything that's anything about yourself that you're holding yourself back, or are you going at it full wind right now?
No. I think that's one thing I've learned, like watching other comics. Like when you see comics like Chappelle, Pryor, Carlin, like I have watched videos and I'm like, what makes these guys great? Like what is it about these guys that makes them great? And really the only thing besides the material that I can boil it down is just people giving their honest opinions about how they feel about shit. So I try to do that. Even if I know other motherfuckers might not agree with it, they'll still respect that I said what I said, So I feel like that's my stance.
Is there anything you want to add?
Any plugs?
I guess.
House of Comedy. House of Comedy on the 9th and 19th. I'm at the Industry on the 21st, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. What's your name?
Marc Jessie, son. Find me on all social media, son. Mark with a C. Fuck that K shit. We don't do K's with black people. We don't fuck with any kind of K's. KKK.
Fade to black.